Good, beautiful morning, beautiful people. Hello, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing very well. Well, I'm here to talk about Waynetta. Now, I've owned my Royal Enfield Himalayan for just over 2 months and just over 1,200 miles now. So here's what I've discovered during that period of ownership. First of all, it's been pretty hassle-free. One small thing that was wrong when it arrived is the electrical connector for the horn kept coming loose as you're riding, so that the horn would work at the beginning of the ride if you plugged it in, but it would stop working halfway through the ride because the connector had come loose. The only other thing that has never really worked properly or very well is the temperature gauge, which is showing right now 21 Celsius. Now, I did attempt to relocate the thermometer, the sensor, from where it sits on the left of the bike to where the document holder is underneath the seat, but it still fairly reliably overreads by a lot. It's just that however much the lot is varies anywhere between sort of 10 to 15 Celsius, so it's pretty much useless. It takes a spot there on the dash, but it's never giving you the real outside temperature. Service wise as well, it had the 300-mile service. The next service is due at 3,000 miles, so not for a little while yet, not a few months. The one thing that they did do at the last service to fix something is they adjusted the idle screw, and so the idle speed is now set correctly. Before that, the idle would creep up, and it would, after the engine was warm, it would idle around 2,000 RPM, which is way too much. But again, that was adjusted at the 300-mile service, and everything was hunky-dory after that. So in terms of niggles and hassles, I think that's been it really. Otherwise, everything else has worked pretty well. Oh, sorry, there is one more niggle. The Trip B, or the Trip computers. I've got a Trip A and a Trip B. I usually like to set the Trip A for I reset it whenever I refuel, so I know how many miles I've done on the tank, so I know when to refuel, because I never rely on the fuel gauge. And I tend to set the Trip B to tell me how many miles I've done in a year. But the Trip meters on these things, they will cycle over and start again after, when you hit 1,000 miles. So yeah, the Trip B started again from zero after 1,000 miles. I'll show you now. Yeah, it's now showing 210 miles. The other one is the fuel gauge. It tends to stay on full until about maybe 60-70 miles, and then it starts going quite quickly. But that's kind of seems to be de rigueur, shall we say, on motorcycle fuel gauges. I never rely or trust any of them. That's why I use the trip meters. The headlights are absolutely awful. I've seen candles that are brighter. And interestingly, when I was buying it, I originally expected to have like an LED bulb to replace the replaced the small candle that's in there. But when I went to see it, the actual LED bulb that they used was worse than the halogen one, or whatever the hell it is that's in there. If you believe it, the LED one was actually less visible. But no matter. So because I kind of knew that was a weakness of the Himalayan, and the fact that it's going to be used for commuting, I had these fog lights installed because they are a bit brighter. They basically increase my visibility because they form a triangle, which makes, you know, the vehicle appear bigger and aids people just seeing you and judging your speed because of the size. So yeah, there is definitely a weakness on the Himalayan, but you know, easily fixed. Some nice LED lights mounted on the engine bars solved that problem, or at least alleviated it. Still, I wouldn't want to be on a country road on a dark night on this, but that's not really what it's for. Don't want to travel at night too much on a motorcycle at the best of times anyway. The tyres have been good. The fueling has been good. I'm getting about 75 miles per gallon average, and that's, you know, with this kind of slow speed start stop type of riding. So I think if I was to take it out in the country and open it up, it would actually do a lot better fuel economy wise. Oh, I just pulled away in second gear. Stupid. But as you can see, it pulls away in second gear, no problem. Might actually have been a smoother pull away than my usual. Great. The curse of the red light. The horn is okay, it's loud enough. How is it to ride? Now, I am 5'7" I've got a 30-inch inside leg measurement. I'm very comfortable flat footing this bike on one side and balls of the feet on both sides at the same time. No problems whatsoever. Now, I bought the Himalayan. The primary purpose was it was going to be a commuter bike to do this commute, this 15-mile commute into town, because it was going to be more frugal, because it was going to be a bit more upright, and lighter, easier to handle and maneuver, and quite a bit taller as well than the Kawasaki Z1000SX. And on that specific requirement, it's been an absolute gem. It's ticked all of the boxes. It can do all of the speeds I need to do with no struggles. You can do this bend quite lovely. can pull away really well. It is great for filtering because nice and narrow, easy to maneuver. The back brake is quite good for that particular application. So yeah, in terms of doing the primary job, it ticks all the boxes for me. Now my commute is fairly much just a little bit of dual carriageway, but mostly it's urban, so for somebody doing maybe bigger motorway miles it might not be so great. But for this type of city miles and city work, I'd say it's pretty good. I mean, I'm fairly easygoing with my throttle. I do like to stay legal and keep to the posted limits. That's me. I think if you wanted to be a bit more aggressive, I don't think it would be a problem for the Himalayan. But for doing the sort of 20, 30, 40, 50 mile an hour combination, it does a pretty good job, and it's comfortable. You're upright, you've got really good vision of what's going on. It's narrow enough, like I said, to filter okay. It's big enough to be nice and visible. With the sort of off-roady styling, it also copes pretty well with the potholes and bumps and bad surface that we get in London. Just as an addendum to the review, obviously I've only had it for the months of February and March. It's now April, so I've only really had it through the cool months when it's been cold. Haven't had a problem with it starting cold or anything like that, but I also haven't had a chance to experience it when it's very hot, and it is an air-cooled motorcycle. There's no radiator, no liquid cooling, so I'll have to report later on in the experience, once we've had some hot days, what it's like in the hot, how it deals with the heat. So keep an eye out on the channel. Now, what I haven't done yet in the first couple of months so far is take it out green laning, which is something I definitely want to do, but that will come in a future review. I can't comment on its abilities there. Well, I can't really comment on my abilities there because I'm not it's not my beach really, or hasn't been my beach so far. Maybe it will become now with the Himi. But as I said, the primary purpose here was town work, and it's for London. It's been fantastic. I would highly recommend this for commuting. It's frugal, it's powerful enough, it's very maneuverable. So yeah, first 1200 miles, big thumbs up from Noob for the Himalayan. Alright guys, thanks for watching this. I hope you'll stay safe, ride well, have fun, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now. Noob out. Bloody hell, that is a bright suit, isn't it? Gee whiz. They glow yellow on an orange bike.